I'm Alonzo Jamison, and I am truly blessed to be a Jayhawk.
Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's, home of the best wings in town. Always fresh, never frozen. I'll tell you what, here's a pro tip on getting your wings from Jefferson's. Get them double dipped. They've got 21 different signature sauces or dry rubs. So dip them the first time, fry them up, and then come back for that second dipping. They recommend the lemon pepper to finish it off. But 21 different sauces or rubs. It's the double dip delivery of Jefferson's. Wings not your thing. They also hand patty all of their burgers with certified Angus beef. They do a great job with their chicken tenders too. My personal favorite, the crinkle cut fries. Whether you're going there on a game day to check out the Jayhawks or just a family meal out, Jefferson's, a great place to be with two Lawrence locations. Proud presenting sponsor of Haney and the Hawks. What's up, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Haney and the Hawks right here on Kansas Nation, now presented by our friends at Jefferson's. And we've had 8 awesome episodes to this point, spotlighting some of the greats of KU football history. And we'll dip into the KU football realm more, I'm sure, over the next month. But it's time to turn the page a little bit and talk about the basketball Jayhawks. And to do so, today we have my good friend, Alonzo Jamison from the 1991 Final Four team. So great to see you, buddy. Always good to see you, my friend. We used to do some radio together back in the day. He was one of the original Rock Chalk Sports Talk hosts back in maybe 2003.
Wow.
And so we go way back, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. Don't remind me of those days. That was a long time ago.
A lot of good memories from a long time
A
ago,
lot of
though.
great memories, actually.
No
So
doubt. And I think there's a younger portion of our audience that'll learn about your career today and the great 26-point outburst you had in the Elite Eight versus Arkansas. They'll learn about the backboard being shattered at late night with Roy Williams. But there's other guys like me that are in their 40s or above that remember it vividly because they lived it. And they didn't know what it was going to look like when Larry Brown was leaving and Roy Williams was coming in. But thankfully, we had guys like you that helped keep that arrow pointed upward and a seamless transition with
you
KU
know,
basketball.
I think Coach Williams actually had a very good rapport about himself when he came in, and he was a no nonsense type of guy. And it's either black or white. You do what he say or you don't, and he'll show you the door. So it was pretty. Like I said, it was pretty black and white. You do what he say, or you find another place to play.
You
So
did what he said, and you turned in a fantastic career that we'll chronicle a great deal of. But let's start with just kind of your upbringing and how you got to Kansas. Santa Ana, California, high school standout who got to stay at home for Santa Ana College for your first year of
yep.
JC and 26 points per game. He was amazing. You're actually in the Santa Ana College Hall of Fame based on that 1 year. But take us back to those days, the prospect that you were coming out of high school and how you really put yourself on the map that first JUCO year.
I really wasn't a standout in. I was a standout in my community, but I was not a big standout in the basketball community. And it was one of those things where just continue to play, and hopefully you get in front of somebody that actually knows basketball, that can actually see the rawness that I actually had, and was thinking, well, maybe he can actually be better at a bigger college and a Division I and things of that nature. My freshman coach actually was a big recruiter, uh, just an independent recruiter, and I thank him because he's the reason why I actually ended up at KU.
Folks might not realize it was Larry Brown's staff and specifically Alvin Gentry that came calling first, and you were
Right.
committed to Coach Brown, not Coach Williams. It take us back to those first impressions of Kansas when you had a guy like Larry Brown and Alvin Gentry on the other line of the phone.
They had just won the national championship in '88. And, funny story was, I actually bet my best friend at the time, Chris Martin, that, KU was actually gonna lose and OU was actually gonna win. Bet him 25 bucks. So it was the best 25 bucks I ever spent. So, uh,
So you were a
it's
Wayman Tisdale fan or something?
I
Or what?
was
Yeah.
big Wayman fan. People had kept saying, "Well, you kinda look like him
Yeah.
in regard." So, it is what it is, but, uh they actually KU came a knocking about 3 weeks after they won it all,
Wow.
and about 5 weeks later, I was on campus, and Danny and Milt Newton were my my people that actually took me around, my hosts, and it was pretty awesome. You know, everywhere we went, people recognized them, and you know, it's like, oh wow, uh, okay. When I flew into to KCI, uh, I didn't know that it was about a 35-minute drive to from the airport to Lawrence. And in California, everything is pretty much, you know, 10, 15 minutes,
Sure.
give or take, depending on what the traffic's like. And that kind of freaked me out because I took a little nap between there and Lawrence and seeing all the the desolate land, let's say, kind of freaked me out a little bit till we got into Lawrence. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be around people and not cows and sheep
Hey,
and
at
everything.
least you didn't
So
have to drive all the way to Manhattan.
that
Well,
would have been, yeah, they would have to at least prepared me for that.
yeah.
And uh,
But that was your
Coach Turge actually
perception?
was the one that actually brought me in too. So he went and picked me up at the,
Wow.
you know, being a graduate assistant, he got the menial job. So at the
Mark
time.
Turgeon. How cool is that? But that was your perception as a California kid of Kansas? You thought this was gonna be mostly rural farmland type stuff? You get to Lawrence, I'm guessing it was a pleasant surprise.
It was a great surprise. I mean, Lawrence is a great city. I love it because it's big enough where you can get lost, but it's small enough where if you don't want to be found, you can't be found. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
So it's that mid, to me, it's that mid range where you can get around when you want to, except for on football games. But that's a whole different situation. That's a good thing to have these days. So, uh, but you know, it Lawrence is one of those towns where uh like I said, you can get lost when you want to, and you can be found if you want to.
Sure.
Can be seen.
So you have Danny Manning as your host, and Milton Newton, as you mentioned, outstanding three-point shooter, had the flat top haircut. I'll
Yep,
never forget that. But
from DC.
D Manning was a 2,900 career point scorer, the all-time record holder at Kansas. A couple of months after touring with Alonzo Jamison, he was about to be drafted number one overall by the
Right,
LA
right.
Clippers. And as you said, they just won a national championship. So that's a heck of a first impression. Did they have to sell you very hard at that point?
Uh,
And how did you wind up committing?
that was it. I mean, if you got the future number one pick taking you around his college town, and the college town was still buzzing. Kansas City was still buzzing. They still had the banners up. Congratulations, KU, and all of this. And then between there and here, you still see the balloons and everything else. It's like, wow, this is a lot bigger than what I expected.
Yeah.
So it didn't take long for me to say yes. Actually, I think I said yes when I was here, but, you know, when you go through all of that, it's kinda hard to say, tell the coach, "Wait a minute, let me think about it. No, I'm coming here."
And we're so glad you did. But you didn't wind up getting a chance to play for Coach Brown. When did the news come down that he was off to the Spurs? And then how quickly thereafter was Roy Williams appointed?
It was kind of funny because I was out playing ball like I usually do I think it was on a Saturday, and, I came in and my mom said, you got about 7, messages from, a reporter." I think it was LA Times or the Orange County Register or somebody, and I'm like, "Why are they calling me so many times?" And I called him back and he's like, "Well, so how do you feel?" I'm like, What are you talking about?" Because I'm out playing. I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention to what goes on in the real world, quote unquote.
Keep in mind, folks, this is the late 1980s. You don't have notifications
Right,
popping up
right.
on your phone or breaking news scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Those
Exactly.
messages you missed were 7 calls to your landline home phone.
Home phone and him just trying to be the first one of the first ones to actually get my reaction from the the news that coach had left. And I after he told me what had happened, I was like, "Oh, no comment. Call me back in about a couple of days and I'll let you know." So, uh, I really did not even call KU back at the time. I just sat there and stewed. I actually called a couple of other colleges, number 2 and number 3. I won't say who they are, but, just to see if there was still some interest in me coming there. 'Cause
And
I at that point, I had to figure out what I wanted to do and make sure it was somebody or it was something that,
yeah,
you get a change of coaching, you they actually let you out of your letter, so
right.
you can figure out what you wanna do from there, and that was one of the things I actually called my high school coach, and he's like, "Well, let's call these other coaches and make sure, you still have a place to go if KU does not, somebody comes in and didn't want you," so
Roy Williams comes in, and he did want you. Pick up the story from there.
he actually had Jerry Green, his top assistant, come out and watch me play in a summer league game in California. And I guess Coach Green went back and said, "Yeah, this is the guy. We need somebody like him." And I've always been I've been in high school and junior college. I've been the guy, but even then, I knew in the back of my mind that if I go to D1, there's going to be scores left and right. And it was one of those things where I had to put it in my head that probably gonna have to change my point of view about being a starter, not even being a starter, just playing, and I was gonna have to be that team player. I was gonna have to be the glue that actually got me on the floor because there, like I said, there's gonna score is dime a dozen, and I just wanted to be on the floor and be a part of something special.
So Coach Williams does indeed keep you in the fold. He comes in. Here's this young former North Carolina assistant, late 30s, got salt and pepper hair, but all kinds of
He didn't have salt
energy
and
and
pepper back then. It was all black. I
all
think we
black.
were the ones that actually gave him a little bit of the salt and
You
pepper.
were responsible for the gray. Okay. But young guy, all kinds of big time aspirations. He's bringing in so much of what Dean Smith had taught him. And of course, the lineage of Kansas and North Carolina runs so deep from Fog Allen teaching Dean
Right,
Smith
right.
making their program famous with Michael Jordan and James Worthy, and then Roy
Handing it
Williams comes
down.
back around. Yeah, man. But what was your first impression of this young guy from North Carolina with his Southern drawl? And when did he win you over that, hey, we're going to win some games with Roy Williams?
I tell you what, it was the first time we actually met with coach. He actually, came on campus and, had a meeting with us in the field house. I still remember it. It was on the, north side of the bleachers, and he came in, and they had just won it all the year before. So, you got a lot of big heads.
Sure.
I hate to say it. They were big heads, and, even my head was big because I had just won the most outstanding player for, junior college in California, and, he was not a head coach anywhere. He was under Coach Smith, but he wasn't a head coach anywhere, so hadn't had that experience. And, I remember him coming in and saying, "Guys, this is my team, and if you don't like it, you can leave. I am not gonna be messing around with you. It's either this way, not this way. So if you'd like it, you can stay. If you don't, that's fine too. You can leave." And I was like, this is a no nonsense type of guy. That's what I needed at that point.
And what was his way? How would you describe? You mentioned it's this way, or you can leave. What was this way
Let's put it this way. Things that's going on now, he would have never, ever would have allow happen back in the 80s.
specifically? What?
Y You're a typical reporter. You always gotta do
I
something
know.
like that, don't you?
I'm your buddy. Just
You
fill in the
know,
blanks. I mean, a little bit.
let's just say how can I say this? The aspect of actually, you know what? Can I get some more something to drink, please?
You're liking this new studio here at Kansas Nation, right? I think, our bartender just
Is he gone?
took a break, but,
Okay.
we'll get you refilled for
All
segment
right.
2.
So
Quick
you're not gonna let me out of this, are you? Okay. So some of the things that you see in the news, um, guys telling coaches off,
Oh, sure.
guys doing or coming in late, and just because you're a 25-point scorer you think you could just do what you want to do.
Got it. Got it.
Everybody's the same under those under his rules. Let's just put it that way. There is no I'm above you, or with the NIL being the way it is right now,
Sure.
where contracts are obviously individually done, and number one is making whatever, and the 12th guy is making anything, if anything. Um, he treated everybody the same. And
And
that's what you need
totally.
at that point. At least that's what I needed, where everybody was going to be the same, where nobody's going to be head and shoulders above anybody else.
Yeah.
Uh, I think this one and done is pretty much. I I love the way the kids are getting their money, which is what it should be. We are not indentured servants. We are people who are workers, and I'm glad they're getting contracts and they're getting paid finally. That being said, NCAA did a lot more than what I expected them to do, and it's kind of hard to try to put the genie back in the bottle when the bottle's broken. So,
Sure. Sure.
and it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be really hard from here on out for the NCAA, and that's all I'm going to say.
No, I hear you, brother. I hear you. But I like where you started off with that, though, that everybody was on even footing when
Right.
he came in. And
Yep.
before we head out to our first time out, tell me about some of those early Roy Williams guys that helped take the baton from that title team, Danny and the Miracles, and play through one season where they didn't have postseason eligibility, but then get right back to a Final Four in 1991 because you had Mark Randall and Geldner and Adonis Jordan. There's so many great guys. Take me back for some of our younger viewers and listeners that didn't live through that era on some of your favorite teammates in those early Roy Williams
You
years.
know, there wasn't he made sure that there was, like I said, there wasn't one person or, a head and shoulders above everybody else. So, it was kind of everybody was on the same footing. So I hate to point one person out and say this person did this and this person did that. Uh, I'm more or less about that team aspect.
Sure.
Uh,
But you had some great guys, is my point.
oh yeah, we had great guys. Don't get me wrong. We had Mark Randall, Mike Maddox, Adonis, Terry Brown,
Downtown Terry Brown,
downtown
man. Tell
Terry
the kids
Brown,
about downtown Terry Brown,
with the
the
shadow
release.
behind his head. He couldn't guard his man, so I had to guard his man. But other than that, I was fine with that. I was good with that.
Uh-huh.
Really, really. I'm 6'6" and running around after somebody that's 6'2". I'm good with that. Really,
That's how you get
really.
8 steals in a game.
Well, yeah,
You did that twice. We'll talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
that later.
yeah.
But yeah, downtown Terry Brown, one of my favorites. You remember those of you that are in your 40s or above, they had the Terry cloths, and it was Terry Brown with his number 3, and you'd wave those Terry cloths when he hit a 3-point shot. Some of the marketing swag that they gave out back then,
Back in the
including
day,
the ozone poster we're going to talk about straight ahead that featured you. I wish we could go back to some of that stuff.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
our marketing team now, but I'm getting nostalgic thinking about the early 90s stuff. Well, you had some great
Nice.
teammates. You had some amazing games. They had one incredible run to the 1991 Final Four. We've got that button right here that you helped propel Kansas towards with a 26-point explosion in the Elite Eight versus Arkansas. We're going to talk about all that and more when we come back. We got to dive into some of this Jefferson's. We got the double dipped wings. I understand this is Coach's favorite. Dive into some of this during our break.
That's some
We'll
good
get your
stuff.
glass refilled, get you some of those Jefferson wings and the crinkle cut fries, and we'll continue with more right after this. Got to talk about what led to that. You obviously transfer in as this well-decorated JUCO star at Santa Ana College. Sit out your first season, but during that redshirt campaign, something that will forever be associated with you happens at Late Night with Roy Williams.
Yeah.
And it's forever associated because A, it had never happened before, hasn't happened since at Kansas. And you ended up being the subject of the team poster 4 years later, the preseason poster, holding a rim, kind of paying homage to what happened that night at Late Night in the Fog. Take us back to the fall of '88 and the fall of one big backboard because Alonzo Jamison shattered the goal.
it's one of those situations where, uh, I actually snapped the Y joint where uh, obviously where the joint actually welds together. They actually welded together back in those days. I think it's one piece now, but back in the day, they actually weld those things. And after so many times of being dunked on, that actually pretty much got loosened. And then I did a reverse dunk, and I tapped the backboard and did a reverse, and uh, I I landed on the floor, and I realized I still had had the rim in my hand. It's like, this is not supposed to happen. And after about a second or milliseconds, I felt that thing on my head after a while. So
So describe it for folks that weren't there. Did it shatter immediately or did it come down and that's when the glass cut you? Because you've still got the scar on the top of your head to this day.
you know, it really didn't shatter.
Okay.
Actually, where I snapped it at, I actually brought down the whole backboard
Okay.
and the rim. So it actually snapped at the Y joint where it was
What
welded.
what cut your head then?
It was the rim.
The rim is
The
what cut
rim,
your head.
yeah.
Okay.
The thing that I came down and I actually had, I let it go and it actually cut me on the top of the head there. So luckily I actually ducked out the way after it actually cut me. So uh, Mark Carnes, our trainer, actually came over and looked at it and he was like, "Well, luckily you don't need stitches, but I'm gonna have to stop the bleeding." And it was about a good 5-inch gash on my head.
Wow.
So luckily, I'm thick-headed enough where it did not do too much damage. So,
So was this a situation where this is your first time playing in front of a crowd out in the field house?
oh, people went crazy.
You
They were
want to put
going
on a
nuts.
show, so you're going to bring the thunder with that reverse jam. Did you put a little extra into it?
Oh,
Or
when late night comes around and there's a quote layup line, which is really a dunk line. Oh yeah, they'll get your adrenaline pumping, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do this." And it's like Mark Randall said, he was like, "Oh, I was next in line. I wish you just would have just did a straight layup and let me bring it down." Like, you got too much accolades as it is. You'll be all right.
yeah, went on to be drafted by the Bulls. He was on the cover of SI with the Kansas headline. But I love that part of the story that he
Yeah,
was giving you grief. It should have been
it
his
should have been him.
chance to bring down the goal.
It is what it
Like
is.
like the sword and the stone. Like everybody had loosened it up, and whoever was coming next was going to get it
Exactly.
out, huh?
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
Well, that's always connected to you. And as I referenced, and we're going to show it right now, the ozone poster. This was before your senior season, though.
Before my senior
But
season.
you're holding the rim, as folks can see that are watching on kansasnation.com or on YouTube. That had to be pretty cool to be featured. And back then in the 90s, those early season posters were all the rage.
Yeah, they were. As coach would say, well, that kind of shows his 15 or 20 pounds overweight. But other than that, I like it too. I'm like, come on, coach. That's Coach Williams for you right there. So,
That was
uh,
my favorite growing up in Topeka. That was on my wall, but I also had the Jeff Geltner, Ricky Calloway, Roy Williams, like dressed in the cowboy gear, like a Western Texas
right,
shootout or
right,
something.
right.
Of
They also
course,
had another one, Frequent Flyer, which
yes.
was they were actually in costumes of being pilots and things. So, that back then it was fun. It not only just playing and people knowing who you are, and they did a great job marketing us.
Well, we're gonna have to get that ozone poster up here at Kansas Nation. Wouldn't that look cool in the studio? I think we could find a good spot for it, no
By the
doubt.
way, this is very nice studio. I've been in plenty of studios, but this is it's very becoming. Let's say that.
I appreciate that. We're gonna get that drink refilled and more wings on the way with those 21 rubs and sauces and dips that they have at Jefferson. So stay tuned for that. But taking you back to your playing
Damn,
career,
you
though,
are
just
good at
a
that.
couple of highlights to get to for folks to relive. There were the two games in which you had 8 steals, which was a school record at the time. It took over 10 years. I think it was 13 years before Aaron Miles broke it versus Iowa State with 9 steals. But you did it.
You know what? I like you, Aaron, but I don't like you for doing that. But other than that, you're good.
Did you watch that with any kind of anticipation, holding that record versus Pepperdine and Marquette? You did it twice.
Right.
Did
Back to
you
back years, actually.
Yeah, did you people always ask the question, do guys really care about the records? Are they protective of their marks? When he finally snapped that in '03, did you think twice about it or
No, of course I did. And anybody that has a record that would say no, they don't. No, they always do. We always do.
care about it?
We always check the records.
Man, you were a beast on the steals. I mean, 2 of the top 10 single season steals marks in the history of KU basketball to this day. What was it about you with this, 6'6", 6'7" frame? What was the playing weight back then?
250.
250. And yet, as you said, sometimes flying around taking Terry Brown's man, you could cover all 5 spots on the floor and clearly great instinctive skills to come up with all these pilfers.
You know, before we actually came on, I told you that I had to figure out I needed a niche to
Oh,
actually get on the floor.
yeah,
And that was my niche was defense and being I have this I don't want to call it a sixth sense, but I have a tuition as to where the ball is going to go next. And I actually use that a lot. And luckily, it gave me back to back eight pilfers uh, from season to season.
incredible. And obviously, you earned Coach Williams' trust through those great defensive efforts, but you could score it as well. And we found that out perhaps better than ever in the Elite Eight of 1991. I referenced we've got the 1991 Indianapolis Final Four commemorative button here. The Hawks punched their tickets for that Final Four thanks to an Elite Eight victory over a Nolan Richardson led Arkansas team that was famous for the full court press and this hounding style that was called 40 Minutes of Hell.
Right.
And I'll never forget the announcer line that day when the Jayhawks took him down behind 26 points from Alonzo Jamison. That 40 minutes of hell turned into 20 minutes of oh heck.
Oh heck.
Take me back to that day. The scouting report on the Razorbacks coming in and how you guys were able to beat that pressuring style and tame the Hogs to go to the Final Four.
You know, they actually played UNLV earlier in the year, and I was ranks number 1 versus number 2, and number 2 was Arkansas that year. Great game. I mean, they had some of the best guys getting up and down the floor that ever played, and it's one of those things where coach just said, "You just do what I ask you to do, play your game, and everything will work out in the end." And then at halftime, we were down by 12, and he reiterated, "Just do what I ask you to do," and we did, and we actually ended up winning by 12, and we came together as a team, and we just did exactly what coach asked us to do, which was uh, do what I ask you to do, and like I said, we did, and ended up with a 12-point lead
How did you
win.
handle that pressuring style? How did you prepare for it? What was the recipe on that day?
I really think that they had thought that we were going to be playing they were going to be playing Indiana, which was ranked third actually at the end of the year, and I just think they actually overlooked us, and it was one of those. Steve Woodbury actually said, "Well, they can go back to Indiana and play them." So,
What was your
it was
favorite
a great
memory from that
line,
day? Because it ended up being a career day for you, 26 points.
right?
What's your fondest memory
Uh, Fondest memory
from that day?
from that day. Oh
Yeah.
wow, the end where the guys all came together, and it was we just believed in each other, and it was just pandemonium, and seeing coach, being so happy too. It was his first Final Four.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just one of those memories that's never gonna end up leaving my head. So
Do you remember what was waiting for you when you got back to Kansas?
when we flew into Topeka and
Exactly.
Forbes Field, yeah, I don't know how many people were there, but I know that it took us 25 minutes, 30 minutes to get off the plane and get to the bus, where it only should have took us about 10 minutes.
Yep. Yep.
Took us 25 minutes.
So
And
you live just outside of Topeka now in Tecumseh, but I was a Topeka native, 10 years old at the time. We win the game. We're listening to Bob and Max on the radio. My dad's like, son, grab your coat, get in the car. We're heading to Forbes Field. And we get out there, and you're right. I don't know how many thousands of people were there, but there were people standing and jumping on cars. Of
Right.
course, it's tradition when the Hawks make it to the Final Four, they have some sort of hero's welcome
Yep.
coming home. But that particular one, at least in the eyes of a 10-year-old at the time, was just unbelievable, overwhelming. There were a sea of people, a throng of fans because of the magnitude of this Kansas win.
It's the Final Four, so you never really know
Yep.
until you actually play the game.
Sure.
You gotta play the game first
Totally.
before it doesn't matter if you're 32 and 0. You gotta play the game,
Yep. Yep.
and you never know. You never really know.
You never know. Well, certainly that Final Four run in terms of team success was perhaps your proudest achievement. You had a lot of individual success as well, though. Reflecting on your days as a Jayhawk, in your own words, looking at it from a big picture perspective, what are you most proud of from your time at Kansas?
It's not about the being the most valuable player in said 1991, Southeast Regional. It's not about winning, 2 out of 3 years I was actually here to actually win, the Big 8 title. It's not about going to the Final Four. It's not about going to the national championship. It's about the guys that are around me. Uh, some of these guys, most of these guys, I'm still in contact with, and uh, I tell the guys that I just had a granddaughter a couple years ago, and it's so good to have uh, that type of atmosphere around you where you can actually those guys that I actually played with are still like brothers to me, and I call them uncles to my daughters. They're their uncles, so
That's great.
they're my brothers, and they will always be my brothers.
Love that. And you're a great family man. It's so fun to see you at KU basketball, KU football, all these events. I know you serve now on the K Club board of directors, so you really have paid it forward and given back to your alma mater as well.
Yeah, it's I love being a part of that. Just not only being a part of KU and being a and still have that background and all of that stuff, but it's about paying it forward to the kids that are here now, just so they know. KU is one of those places where tradition reigns, and it's all about being a part of that tradition.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids don't know about that tradition, and you got to let them know this is what you're a part of.
Yep.
This is what you're a part of, and you gotta give your all. You got to give your all because these days, some of these kids are coming through AAU, and they're not playing as hard as they should, and this and that and this, but, that name on the front of the jersey says a lot,
Yeah.
and they need to know that.
Reminds me of Bill Self's words about, we're all caretakers of something much bigger than any one
Right,
individual player or
right.
any individual team. And clearly you get that. Well, we're going to step aside for our final timeout. When we come back with Alonzo Jamison, we'll wrap it up with our basketball season. Let's call it our full court press. It's been the 2-minute drill during football season, but we'll do a fast break or full court press or something. 4 quick questions, fun stuff. Plus, I got to ask you, like, what's it like being a grandpa now? You talked about Winter Ray, aka Winnie. Are you Grandpa Zoe? We're going to find out about that next. A big part of your story is the fact that about 7, 8 years ago, you were in need of a kidney transplant after type 2 diabetes was the diagnosis, and you had a hero step up in Shekinah Pepper, former USA military man with the US Army, who not only served our fine nation, but continues to be a hero after his military career by stepping up when you needed it most. Real quickly, tell us your story about your connection with Shekinah and what an incredible gift he gave you.
Yeah, she kinda actually works with my wife, off and on, Colleen, so, uh, I actually put on, uh, social media that I needed a kidney, uh, because of diabetes that's on both sides of my family, so, uh, he actually came up and took the step forward and wanted to give me, one of his kidneys. I've also always said that somebody that, is, a giver like that, or they're a different breed of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody that wants to go under the knife to give something that's a part of them to somebody else to give them a quality of life that I didn't have at the time,
Right.
they're a different breed of people.
Man, that's special. And now you guys are brothers forever.
Yeah, I put him up there with one of those teammates.
Yeah.
Um, just somebody that came into my life, made a difference in my life, and not only to my life, but my wife's life, my kids' life, my grandchild's life. Because now they actually have their father or papa
Okay.
back in their lives. So
I'm going to ask you about the role of Papa here in just a second, but we appreciate you coming down today. It's been a ton of fun. We always close these down with 4 quick hitting questions meant to be lighter, fun stuff. And we'll have a couple that relate to basketball. But up front, you've lived a fascinating life post Kansas. You know, I did radio together. You coached for a while at
mhm.
Bethel. You've had several coaching roles, actually. You've been all over. I see you all the time now with Colleen at KU games, supporting your alma mater. What's been your favorite chapter post KU of all the things you've done and hats you've worn? What's been the favorite thing in your life post playing career?
Being a grandfather, obviously,
Okay.
because you always can spoil your child, spoil that child, and send them back home. So uh, I'm pretty sure that's what my grandmother actually did. Grandmothers spoiled me and sent me back home and
Uh-huh.
let mom and dad to figure out how to deal with it.
Question number 2 on my list was actually about Winnie, whose full name is Winter Ray, and what your favorite part of Winnie's personality and being her papa is. I also was curious if they called you Grandpa Zoe. Apparently not.
Yeah, Papa. It's
Okay.
Papa. But to answer your question, she has the attitude of me where I just don't care. But I will tell you exactly what I think.
Okay.
So, uh, my children, all three of them, Michaela, Olivia, and Elise, all have that same attitude. So it's even more fun for me because coming from a guy, you expect that, but coming from the ladies,
Uh-huh.
is quite unexpected, and I so love that about them.
Now, Winnie's just a toddler, right? But do you
Yep.
see any traits that could make her a future Jayhawk someday?
Well, she's already saying Jayhawk, so
Okay.
we're getting her there.
Good deal.
We're
I like the
getting her
sound of
there.
that. I like the sound of that. Okay. Next question. You're famous for bringing the goal down at late night with Roy Williams back in the day, but you've been around KU basketball ever since. Season ticket holder, you and your lovely wife. If you could pick one guy post Alonzo Jamison that could bring the thunder enough to take the goal down, if there's one guy equipped to bring down that backboard, who would it be?
Oh, he's a part of the staff now.
Really?
Yep, our game was so much alike. I didn't jump out the gym like him, but
KJ Adams.
age, yeah, KJ.
I was like, I don't think Jeremy Case or Jacques Vaughn would bring down the goal, but KJ Adams, of course.
KJ. There've been so many guys. You got Big Gravy.
Yes.
Really like Big Gravy. He's a man. He is the man. Uh, you had Jackson from a couple of years ago.
Darnell Jackson.
Darnell. Uh,
Josh Jackson probably wouldn't bring the goal down, but
uh,
he could bring an electrifying dunk.
yeah, he
Yeah.
he could show it. Uh, but let's see who else.
I think KJ is the choice, and you guys wore the same jersey number, so
Yep,
I'm seeing it all come together now.
yep, yeah, yeah.
He could
He's
bring it.
like I said, our game was pretty much the same. Uh, uh, he's just more muscular, and he jumps out the gym. Like I
Yeah,
said, I didn't
yeah.
jump out the gym, but I still brought down I don't know how that happened, but he is the man.
Okay, great answer. And finally, if you could go back in time and play on any Roy Williams or Bill Self team
97.
post career, it's
97.
97 right away.
97.
What would your role have been on that team?
What it was in 91, 92,
Okay.
it would have been the stopper. Um, I know Jared House was, but I was I'm a little bit bigger than him, but I I would have been fine coming off the bench on that team, and uh, they were really damn good.
Many
They
believe the
they sh
greatest, most talented team
yes,
in KU
they
history.
should have gone a lot further than what they actually did. But it's that's what I said about the NCAA. You never know. You gotta play the games.
Yeah. What about a Bill Self team? Any particular club?
I knew you were gonna ask me that.
Well, you guys are sitting like in row 5 every game. I figure you've seen enough ball. There's one team you wish you could have joined.
It probably would have been the last 2 years
Yeah,
'cause I think they actually did not have that glue person. They didn't have that person that would just go out on the floor and forget about the offensive end and be that person that can play defense, can also on the offensive end not worry about scoring, but more uh, giving assists,
sure.
being that mouthpiece, getting everybody together. Because I don't think they actually had that one person that actually did that. Now, don't get me wrong, they had talented kids, but they just did not have that one person that could actually bring everybody together, get everybody on the same page.
Really interesting stuff today. Fabulous memories. I hope for some of you that were learning about this for the first time, it was as interesting for you as it was for me to relive it. Thank you so much for all you continue to give back to KU. I referenced your work on the K Club board and everything you and Colleen do as contributors to Kansas athletics and local charities. The Round Ball Classic, Zoe's back every single year for Round Ball, coaching up a storm, bowling with the pediatric cancer patients, and also giving of his resources in addition to his time and talent. So thank you for being such a great ambassador. Thanks for being such a great friend, my man.
Anytime, you
So
know
good to
how it
see you,
goes.
buddy.
Yep.
When we thought about who do we open up the hoops interviews with, I thought, man, Zoe's got charisma, personality. He'll probably drink us dry on what is that Walker Black? What are you drinking?
Jim Beam
Jim
Black.
Beam Black. But that's okay because we'll soak it up with some great wings from
There
Jefferson's and
you
we'll have a
go.
heck of a time. And that's exactly what we did. Big thanks to Brandon Graham and Jefferson's. Thanks to everybody at Kansas Nation. This has been Haney and the Hawks.